Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone's doing well today. Let's go ahead and pick up where we left off last time. I'll show you one thing up here. When you opening up your projects here, I don't know if you notice this version number here, but you can click on this and you can go back and open up previous versions that you saved, just in case you've made some mistakes that you can't really get away from. This is one way to go back in time. For instance, I'm here 4 minutes ago that I saved, and I recorded the entire video without actually pressing the record button. So I'm going to do it all again. Just be aware that I've already done this once, so you will see some stuff is still showing up as saved already. So a quick update. I ordered some parts from China on eBay, which they promptly took my money and then 2 days later said, we can't ship it to you for that cost. We need $25 more or $22 more, after already paying $30 something in shipping. And I said, no, I'm not going to go that route. Just cancel my order. So the next day I get an email from China, which was very strange, that said, oh, our fault, we'll pay for it. And they never do that. They never ever do that. I didn't respond to that. And then the next thing, I get an email saying, oh, the blue model's not available here, but we have a nice gold one we'll give you instead, which went from premium Chinese to bottom end Chinese. So I declined that, and because it's through eBay, they had no choice but to refund my money. And the reason I was pushing on getting those out of China, not just ordering off the US sites, is that I'm using a 3-phase motor system out there right now, and I didn't want to disturb that. I want to keep it all 3-phase, and those are really expensive on the Amazon.com and those kind of places. However, I went ahead and just bought a 2-phase, which is actually better. It's a stronger motor, twice as strong. And it'll be here on Monday, so hopefully next week we will get back to business on cutting this stuff. So anyway, this is set up for the last cuts I did. I'm going to go ahead and remove these. And this is where we left off last time. So we're going to head on over here to the manufacturing. And I'm going to create a new setup here. And I'm just going to call this one the head. And make sure I'm in my G56 offset here. And the mode will be from a solid. Neck blank, and then the stock point's going to be up here, and that all looks pretty good. I'm going to click OK on this. Now, because I have a bandsaw, I'm going to remove all the bulk material, which you can see is quite a bit. Not so much on the front, it's just this area in here, but on the back there's quite a bit of bulk that has to be removed. However, for whatever reason, if you can't get that done and you have to do it on the CNC, this front side is not incredibly taxing on the machine, but the rear, it's a lot of cutting to get all that material off the back. But here's how you would do that. You go in here to this 3D adaptive clearing right here, and for adaptive clearing you're using a flat mill, so I'm going to use a 1/2-inch flat end mill here. Then for my geometry, I'm going to select, actually I'm going to turn off this stock contours, turn off this reset, and for geometry on this box I'm going to click on selection here, and then select just this top silhouette here, and then we'll head over to this one and we'll drop this down to 001.001. Now this is not a step over, this is the optimum load on the bit. It cannot be greater than the diameter of the bit. And depending on how rigid your machine is, this is how much meat it's going to take off of each cut this adaptive clearing, they generally try to use as much length of the bit as they can and just take thinner slices. I'm going to drop this down to about a 0.4. And then the maximum roughing step down, this is how deep the cuts are going to be, the layers are going to be. For a 1/2 inch bit, I'm going to go to a 1/4 inch step downs. Stock to leave, make sure this is on. You don't want to cut it all the way down to the model. Turn on my smoothing here. Make sure this is 001, 0.001. And then the last thing, this ramp helix, we can probably take this up to about a 10 degree. At 2 degrees, that's just too many circles. Just more wear and tear on the machine. And just click OK on that, see how it looks. Let's go ahead and run this and turn the stock off so we can see what that toolpath is going to look like. Actually, I've already turned the stock off here. Turn this thing here. Okay, so that's going to do 4 paths. And then if we turn that stock back on, you can see what it's going to look like. That's what the kind of face it's going to leave on it. Bumpity, bumpity, bumpity. And that'll clear your stock out of the way. And then from there you go to a 3D parallel cut here. And this, you'll need a ball nose. And I can't stress enough, make sure you read this very well. Ball nose, not bull nose. It makes a big difference. It'll mess your model up if you do bull nose, unless you have a bull nose bit. And then for the geometry, same thing. We're going to select this top band here, and then we're going to use this avoid and touch surfaces, and we'll go to the touch surfaces, and we're going to select just this head up here, and we can take this tolerance down right here too. All these tolerances are taking down throughout the model here. What that does is speed up the cut time, because that's way too much tolerance for cutting wood. I mean, that's more tolerance than the sandpaper, so there's just no need in being that precise for what we're doing. It's good that it's good that the Fusion has that much tolerance in case your machine is strong enough to cut metal. And then here's the step over, and this is how much sanding you want to do when it's finished. And so I'm going to put that down to about a 0.05 inch step over. Don't leave any stock on this one. Turn the smoothing on, and should be good to go on that. Yep, up and down, back and forth. Stays inside. And as you can see, the first cut you did left plenty of room that your bit's not going to dive into the sides when it comes close to the edges out here, or it shouldn't anyway. So I'm good with that. Now, as before, you can't save both of these as one motion because we're going to change the bit in between, tool change. So you would have to click here and up here to save or post that one, and then come back and click here and do a second post, which is the only one I need. This is my head document. Post that. Overwrite the following, yes, because we've already done this once. And make sure you're in your G56. You'll know if you're not in G56 when you home your machine. You change your offset, you move your machine out to the G56 offset, you get your model in place, and you hit run, which is always done at very, very slow speeds the first time to find out which direction your head's going to move in. If it starts taking off in the wrong direction, headed back for home, you know that your offset is wrong here, in which case you just open this file up, even in a notepad, doesn't matter, and change this to the G56 offset. If you forgot to do it at this point, you can always change it later. But that's just a tip. If your machine looks like it's going the wrong way, it probably is going to the wrong offset. Take out these homing moves and save. Alrighty, so we got that part done, and I'm going to delete this whole set. Actually, Yeah, I'm going to delete this whole setup because we're going to roll this thing over. And delete this posting, hide this stuff. Now I want to roll this thing upside down and rotate it twice this way, like that. And we're going to do the same thing again here. We're going to create a new setup and go here, and this I'm going to call the neck back, and change my offset to my G56. Go to my stock, and I'm going to use that from solid models neck blank. And then here for the box point's going to be up here now, and hit this head to flip it over, and that's good. So the reason we created this stock to start with, besides just having a piece of stock that we can actually cut, and it just keeps everything exactly where it's supposed to be. Without using stock, then you have to center everything up, and it's just a way easier to just make a piece of stock to use. Everything then is exactly where it's supposed to be, and very little chance of having something set up wrong or incorrectly, or a cut height not correct when you use a stock instead of just using the model to work off of. And okay, that's all good. Click OK on there. And again, if you need to do a clearing move, it's really going to eat up a lot of your machine life. That's a lot of material to move. So I'm going to go to this 3D adaptive clearing again, flat mill, select those same lines. Whoops, get rid of the stock contours, reset, change this to selection, and select those same lines as before. Now it's on the bottom. And then go to this tab and knock this down to 1. And change this load here to 0.4 for this mill. And my step downs to 1/4 inch, which I could actually probably go 1/2 inch with this bit. My machine's pretty stout. Stock to leave, yes. Smoothing on. Take this 0 out of here. Same old, same old. And the ramp can go up to 10 or 12. Let's put 12 in here for this. And click OK on that. Calculating, calculating, and that looks pretty good. Looks like everything stayed inside the boundaries. Gonna flip it up here on the bottom just to make sure it's not going through my these yellow lines are just moves of the machine. That should be above those holes. It's the blue lines that are actually cutting. So those are just moves. They look fine. You know, it looks like we're all good for that. See what that looks like. If I can turn this stock off and run it, we can see the milling. And it's pretty strange to mill. It's bouncing back and forth from end to end to end to end to end to end. It's a lot of wear on the machine, but it gets the job done. Wondering a little bit why it's not going all the way down. I guess that's 90 degrees right there. Yeah, I guess so. That's because the contour is still at 90 degrees here. Okay. We'll find out when we cut it. Maybe some sanding involved if it's not exactly right. So that's good for that one. So the next process, we'll go back to the 3D parallel and change back to the ball end. and select that same silhouette here on the bottom. This time we're going to use the avoid touching in the surfaces again here. We'll take this tolerance down right here for sure. And then the touch surfaces will be everything facing up here. All of that, that's good. Tolerance. Step over will be 0.05. And smoothing on, and should be good to go. Looks good to me. I'm gonna post that one. The neck back is fine. Just resave all this stuff, that way I am cutting exactly what you saw me design here. Okay, I'm going to get rid of these two. Keep the same setup. And now we're going to do a 2D contour. Now for this, you can use a flat end mill on this. The smaller the bit, the less chatter you're going to get, the less material it's going to move, and the less chance it's going to be of pushing your stock off of the table. And also the quieter it's going to be. And the reason I mention that is that at this point there's going to be a couple of pins sticking out into the neck on the back, and that's going to give it most of its stability from moving in any lateral direction. But the only thing that's going to be holding it down on the table is the tool pressure and some double tape and super glue trick, which is really strong. I never really had an issue with doing it this way, but we're not going to have any mechanical fasteners holding this thing down as far as laterally for the finish of this cut. Now it will be held down by 4 mechanical supports all the way down until that last cut. When that last cut comes around, it's going to have to rely on the tape to hold it in place. That being said, the big bit's going to create a lot more force on that last cut, which really shouldn't matter. It's only going to be paper thin most likely, or we could tell the machine to make the last cut paper thin. But still, if it touches the side of the model at all, it's pushing all the weight of that cutter. I'm trying to push this thing to the side laterally. I think I said laterally when I meant actually on some point. Anyway, you get what I'm talking about. Side to side is pretty much going to be the side to side force is going to be increased the bigger your diameter of your end mill here. I found a 3/8 is a good in between for sound, vibration, noise. 1/2 inch is a little bit too aggressive, and a 1/4 inch generally I can't really find a bit long enough usually to get around everything comfortably. The 1/4 inch bits that I use from the box stores here are usually pretty short compared to my 3/8, and my 1/2 inch bits are over 3 inches long. I keep saying bits, I should be saying end mills, but you know what I mean. I'm going to use the 1/2 inch on this one. My machine can take it, and then the geometry is going to be the same as we used before. Now do rotate up here and make sure this red arrow is on. See, right now the arrow's on the inside. Oh, now it's on the inside. Now it's on the outside. It's hard to tell on this one. You'll know when you start to cut it, but whatever side the arrow is on, that's whether it's going to cut to the outside or to the inside of the profile. And it looks like this is on the outside, but that's pretty strange that it's not actually out here. And when you click it, it doesn't really change much. Anyway, we'll see when we do the tool path. We're here, it's all good, and here I am going to go ahead and put the bottom height as the stock bottom, and then in here the normal stuff here. This one we will do multiple depths on, and I'm going to do 1/4 inch. I could do a little bit more with this bit, but the noise, just because of the noise, I'm only going to do 1/4 inch. That's all fine. We're not leaving any stock on this. And here, these lead ends may get you in trouble that your bit slams into the entire piece of stock that's left on the side out here, which could throw material all over the room or something. You never know. I'm going to go ahead and turn these lead in and lead out off and do a ramp instead. And I'm going to ramp in about 12 degrees. See what that looks like. Safe distance. You need to lower this value right here. It's at 0.28. I think 0.2 is where my retract height is. So if I take this below 0.2, it should be okay. I'll just do a 0.15. And that stuff's not going to stop the cut from happening. But it may save you from running into something sticking above the work surface. So you can see that's plenty of passes. It'll take a while to get down through all these passes to the tabletop. Now you see here my last cut is quite thick. It is a full 1/4 inch. And if you want to have less strain on this neck as it's being cut away from, entirely away from all these hold downs, man, in this back one here, you'll see it's basically held in place on 3 sides, which is really good, until this last cut where it comes out back here. So it's going to travel all the way around. This side will have already been cut, and the last cut it's going to make, it's going to take out this little strip around here and come out here. You could actually go in here and edit this and put a final pass on here, and make that a thinner. And here you have this finishing step down. You could put that in here. It's already set to this number here, and it might be that number. I don't see it. I don't see it on the toolpath though. But you could add a finish step down and play around with that and get that last step to just a little tiny sliver of wood holding it all together. Not necessary for my machine. And besides that, I'm not using really good wood on this build, so and I always test everything with pine first, so we'll see how it goes with my test cuts. I'm going to post this, and this one is, because I'm already using the neck back for the profile, I'm going to call this one the neck back contour. So is it contour or contour or contour? I don't know. I'm going to go with this one. It sounds more French. Post that and overwrite. Good to go. G56. And no homing moves. Alright folks, and with that we should be ready to cut. Hopefully Monday or Tuesday I'll have my machine running again, and sometime mid next week I will go ahead and cut out these 2 parts and we'll video that and see how that goes. I think I'm going to do a little interim video right before the cut, you know, just showing basic materials and, you know, supplies and things you'll need to actually start putting this thing together. Try not to be a talking head so much, and yeah, and then the next build video should be the body. That will, I think, be only one video. It's the easiest, simplest, fastest thing to do is the body, and should be good to go on that, I think. So alright, yeah, don't forget to save your work here, guys. Control S, and God bless you all. Thanks for watching.